Welcome back. Let's talk some politics around development or development around politics, whichever is convenient. And that stems from the conversation or the remarks of the former governor of Kano State and the former presidential candidate on the NNPP platform, Kwankwaso, when he talked about the fact that he was traveling, I think, all the way to Sokoto, and his experience on the road, and he was actually complaining to the effect that things have to be done differently, more like alluding, if you will, to the fact that, you know, besides the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road that is being celebrated, a lot more has to be done in the north because the roads in the north are not quite as good as it should be. And people have interpreted that to mean that he's saying that, look, the federal government has focused more on the south in terms of project distribution as against the north. Well, the presidency has replied from the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and one of the spokespersons of the president. So that big question arises as to how well distributed projects are as far as the Bola Tinubu administration is concerned. We're bringing in our guest, Ladipo Johnson. He's NNPP National Publicity Secretary. He joins us right here in Abuja, in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And Abdulaziz is a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Print Media. He joins us virtually. Mr. Abdulaziz, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, Mr. Ladipo, since you stoked the fire, I mean your party leader stoked the fire, I will naturally start from you. So that will put things in context from what I guess you would have heard what he said and his allusion to what his remarks are. But in response, Dave Umahi, the Honorable Minister for Works, has said 4 legacy road projects of the Tinubu administration, the north accounts for 52% of the total length, while the south holds about 48%. He went on to reel out, I'm trying to get cited roads like the construction of over 1,000-kilometer the Sokoto-Badagry superhighway. Whether it's completed or not, that's a different kettle of fish. Noting the Kebbi and Sokoto sections alone accounts for 378 kilometers by 6 lanes, or the 756 kilometers by 3 lanes in the north. And then you can compare that to what goes on in the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road at just about 30 kilometers on this end of the road has been completed. So that comparison is back and forth. What do you make of, I can say, your principal's remarks and this back and forth?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good morning. I believe that you have to put it in context. You know, Senator Kwankwaso was speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Kano. They were preparing for, I think, the constitutional review thing. And he spoke about the fact that his flight was delayed and he had to travel by road from Abuja to Kano, and that it was a difficult journey, as it were. So I think you have to put what he said in context there. And he went on to say that people had made mistakes in the past, that it would seem to others that it was lopsided, development was lopsided. And that didn't remove the fact that, because I saw someone's comment, that why didn't he speak up when Buhari did some road to the railway to Niger, as it were. But basically what he was saying was that even you have to learn from all those. And the caveat he put there was that whatever it is, that the government still has time. This is the time that we have to, you know, start to improve on things if need be. So that is it. And I think that I read what the Honorable Minister said about why people are harping on the coastal road. You know, the humongous sum of that, you know, would tend to switch anyone's thinking that, okay, you're spending so much on this. Is it really that should the priority be on that vis-a-vis maybe roads that, like Kano is a commercial area, You know, it's a commercial hub of the north, from Abuja to Kano, Kaduna, things like that. Why don't we fix those and everything? So I don't think there was anything ill, you know, there was no bad intention. He just said it as part of his comments, you know, but it's been picked out, and that's what we're talking about.
Mr. Abdulaziz, so I'm sure you have a response to what Mr. Ladipo Johnson has said. But again, states of road are easy to determine. There is ongoing and then completed. Or besides what the minister has said, do you have any other thing you want to add to what the minister has said? Because you're from the north and you speak for the presidency as far as the print media is concerned. But he's saying here that, look, the man was just making remarks based on his personal experience, and he's saying this is a chance for you to do what you have to do to make the North feel you. Some have said that that was a political statement. They even rolled it into the issue of 12 million votes as to who is going to be the next man of the valor. A lot of the manner in that sense, as far as the complexities of northern politics is concerned. What do you make of it, Mr. Abdulaziz?
Thank you once again. Actually, for me, as you said, I'm from the north. I'm actually coincidentally talking to you from Kano right now. And I would say, perhaps, you know, especially with the explanation by the NNPP spokesperson, that the comments were not intended to be this controversial, were more like advisory or some call to action about the need to learn from the mistakes of others in the past. And actually, I watched the video, and if you did, you would actually agree with the spokesperson of the NNPP that it's not like a conclusive or hostile statement by the NNPP leader. But that, be that as it may, as you said, I think there is this notion, the perception out there, which I think it is what Kwankwaso himself tried to speak to or pander to as an opposition leader, which is, you can say, is not out of place, that people perceive these issues, especially because there are issues that are increasingly hammered by politicians who are, of course, self-serving, who do it not out of altruism or not out of fact, but out of actually the need to keep whipping the government and also, I would say, overheating the policy. But the minister's statement was clear about it. But also for road travelers like myself, I travel by road a lot. And I will tell you that there are tremendous improvements. There are projects that are ongoing. There are projects that are completed. If, for example, you take the road which this government inherited and completed from Kefi, from Abuja to Kefi, Akwanga, up to Benue, is a very good road. It's recently completed, and travelers on that road now have no nightmares around about potholes or bad condition of road. If you come further afield into the hinterland, you'll see so many roads that are either completed or are being worked on very rapidly. For example, the Abuja-Kaduna Kano Road, which this government inherited, which also dragged for long, the contention around it, especially with Julius Berger, had been broken, and new contractors had been engaged, and they are working assiduously, especially from which is where the problem is, from Abuja to Kaduna, and work is going on very well there. And if you come further afield again, even the road that Kwankwaso, His Excellency, the former presidential candidate of NNPP was talking about, perhaps he didn't notice, but I don't know from which end did he flew the road, but you have noticed that there are so many things happening. For example, from Zaria, right now this government is working on the dualization of the road, which used to be single lane from Zaria to Gusau to Sokoto, and work is in progress. And from Zaria, there is another road going to Katsina, which is also being worked on. From Kano to Katsina, from Kano to Maiduguri, the remaining portions, all these places, there are ongoing projects. And I understand the concern or all the talks around the second, the coastal highway. But what people fail to also realize is that while you have the coastal highway from Lagos to Calabar, there is also the Sokoto-Badagry Road, which has perhaps more than 70% of it in the north. That is stretching from Sokoto through Kebbi, through Niger, before landing in the south into Badagry in Lagos. And this road is being worked on right now very well, and work is going on simultaneously from all angles. For example, in Sokoto.
Pardon me to quickly come in here, so we can do the back and forth and get a lot of value. So you're actually saying, admitting that there's lopsidedness, but it's in favor of the North.
I'm not going to say whether there is lopsidedness or not.
No, because you agree with what the minister said, that the North has 50+%, 52%.
What I'm saying, one thing that I would want this conversation to drive at is we should look at things as national projects, not as northern or southern projects, which is a major problem, which I hope we will dive into, especially discussing politics, appointments, and projects. Because most important thing is what value do the projects bring? Right. It's just because they are sited in the south or they are sited in the north. What are the economic values of these roads? Right. What are the things? Of course, there is need for justice, there is need for fairness, which I'm sure nobody could accuse this government, honestly, of being unfair to the north or unfair to the south.
And that's a valid point.
Have been cited all over the country.
And that's a valid point to make from that. See them as national projects. But whether or not that is how it is interpreted is another thing entirely, because we know it's the season of politics. Let me come to Mr. Ladipo Johnson now and ask you, when a lot of people watched Senator Kwankwaso speak, yes, what he was talking about was what he perceived as lopsidedness, and he said, I think, that's how he started, saying, I think this. That's what he was saying. But what a lot of people heard was that, wait a minute, does it mean that this planned coalition, because we're using coalition, this planned coalition between the president, the APC, and the NNPP, RMK, has fallen through? That's what a lot of people heard. And it was like a downer. What threw the spanners in the works? Because we thought that this was a union that would be announced very soon to counter the coalition. So does this mean that all is not well in that other coalition that we were thinking would happen?
Really, I really do not know where to begin, because you recall the last time I was here, I told you that a lot of these things we saw just like you did over social media.
No, you are not like us. You are inside.
No, I'm just telling you.
You're not like other people.
And I heard when you were doing your press review, you spoke about Prince Onu, who's a Deputy National Chairman South, talking categorically that there was no coming together and everything. And I just smiled about it, that if you ask me that, what I will tell you is that maybe he knows that there's no coming together because Senator Kwankwaso hasn't said anything. And maybe
Mr. Johnson, pardon me. What people are even saying is that the statement he made in Kano was a tacit way of showing the project of this government.
Yeah.
Because now the Minister of Works has come out to say, oh, we've done 52%. So they're thinking,
No, well, I think, you said it, and the gentleman spoke there. He just said that let's look at it as national, not south, not north and south. And I think basically part of what, if you look at the flip side of what he was saying, it is something like that, because he specifically said that mistakes that have been made in the past, and that even if that was the situation, this was the time for government to begin to do things so that the people in the north would see that there's some sort of even equitable development. But as to, I honestly say, okay, when I've been in Lagos for a while. I spoke to him just 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. And I said, people said that when you went for a program at the in Aso Rock, I think.
Oh, I see.
I think they have a hall or something there, something to do with that Greek.
Oh, the banquet hall.
Yeah. Did you see the president? Because I had phone calls coming in. He said no. You know, so I was like, where do all these things come from? You know, he went for a meeting.
You said, did you see the president then?
Yes.
What if they had met somewhere else?
No, look, we know when
the president has been out of the country.
No, he was in the country.
Come on, Mr. Are you with? You said you've been in Lagos.
Yes.
Are you with him every step of it?
Hang on. I know when he travels. You understand? I know when he travels. I know whether he's gone to Egypt or gone to this place or that place. You know, after the president's election, when he went to France, we all saw that he went to France. They sat, they met, they talked. You know, when president got back, I think before the swearing in or after, he met. But I don't think that we've had meetings after that. So it's not always as we get. I don't know where these things come from, honestly. I'm telling you, I don't know where these things come from. You hear things, you read things, and there are times I'm forced to call him. I say, is this the case? And he says, no, you know. So some people somewhere are flying kites. You understand? There was a time you saw posters or flyers or banners of himself and former President Jonathan everywhere. There again, I had to ask, what is going on, you know?
You know, but it's hard to dismiss these talks, particularly, you know, since the rumble within the APC happened just about 2 months ago over the purported plans to drop the current vice president and pick someone from the Northeast. And not long after that, we also heard that there were, you know, potential plans to consider your principle in order to take advantage of the block votes that will come from Kano State in order to, you know, easily help the APC win the election. But since you have said that you spoke with him, and this, you know, was not what exactly transpired when he visited. Let's take it to Mr. Abdulaziz. Mr. Abdulaziz, what does it look like from where you stand? You are the president's aide on the print media. So does this have anything to do with the potential alliance? And perhaps did Mr. Kwankwaso, you know, was his outburst related to the failure of the reported failure of the alliance talks?
Well, I wouldn't want to call that outburst, especially when his own party spokesperson is saying something to the contrary. And also, I don't think the visual evidence of that statement supports that description. But having said that, I wouldn't, you know, politics is something that is quite evolving, that is very fast. There is nothing also, as they say, the saying goes, that is impossible. And sometimes, you know, I don't work for Dr. Kwankwaso, I don't, Senator Kwankwaso, I don't work for him, I don't speak to him, so I don't know why he said what he said. And I wouldn't want to, you know, go about imparting meanings into what I'm not sure of. But, you know, politicians, this is the season, as you said earlier, and politicians do all manner of things, say all manner of things, sometimes for different purposes. It may not be, sometimes what perhaps you and I may think would be the reason or the motivation would actually not be the case. So, as I said, I wouldn't want to be the one to give interpretation to what was all the background to what was said by someone else. If it were the president that said something or did something, I could perhaps give some explanation as to why that statement was made.
Mr. Abdulaziz, you just said moments ago that nothing is impossible. So are you saying that there's a possibility that the negotiations can be reopened?
Yeah, well, I don't know when negotiations were opened, and I cannot say whether they are closed or not, or they can be reopened. So all that within the realm of politics within the realm of possibilities and speculations, because of course politics by its very nature is quite could be quite speculative as well. So I wouldn't hazard guess, and but of course politicians talk. It's not a sin, I believe. You know, talking across lines, it's not a problem. So presidency or agents of the president or friends of the president talking to Kwankwaso or the other way around, I don't think that should be seen as anything strange or anything that should be looked with disdain or with any suspicion, because after all, it is politics, and people align, realign, and change allegiances, and also shift their political positions a lot of times for perhaps grander or more, you know, very higher callings or higher vision or higher ideals. So I wouldn't. So there is nothing strange about Kwankwaso talking to the APC or to the president, or the president talking to him. After all, you should know that there is a very long-standing relationship between the two. President Tinubu is somebody that has relationships dating back ages, because he's been in the game for a very long time. So both men were elected as members of the National Assembly during the botched transition of 1993. Of course, also, both of them were elected governors the same time in 1999. So they have had this long political association that you wouldn't see anything strange if they are now closing ranks or reuniting under any arrangement.
I'm happy there are no gloves up anywhere. There's a lot of decency in the conversation, but let's keep the politics. No matter how much you politicians want to pretend, politics has started.
Yes.
There's nothing anybody can say to the contrary, because the APC, for instance, they gathered at a national summit and endorsed the president. I think there's another endorsement coming up today, forgetting which part of the country. So, and then we see the ADC. So, but let's talk about the NNPP, and then I'll throw you back to Mr. Abdulaziz. So, I mean, like Mr. Ono has said, or someone has said that, look, Mr. Kwankwaso is going to run again for president. Is within his rights.
Yes.
But is it realistic? Why do politicians make what seem to be, I don't want to use the word unrealistic, because you're going to downplay ability here. But from a perception point of view, 1.4 million votes is what he garnered the last time. And then maybe perhaps now that Muhammadu Buhari is there, that dynamics will change even further. He hasn't made significant inroad beyond Kano, not even in the northeast. What makes him to hold his ground as to not to work with maybe a coalition, not necessarily ADC, to even give him a chance or a shot at the presidency? Because this looks like almost predictable, with the greatest sense of respect.
Well, the first thing is that, as I was saying earlier, that maybe Prince Onu knows that he's contesting based on the facts that he hasn't said anything, because that's the constant. And maybe I will say to you that I'm not sure he's contesting because he hasn't said anything, right? But that is the constant. He hasn't said, I'm contesting, or I'm not contesting, I'm talking to APC, or I'm talking to ADC, nothing, right? There are consultations going on various places. And as I said before, when the time comes, we will come out and say, oh, this is what we're doing as a party, or this is what he's doing, you understand? But based on what you said earlier, you know, you say that he had 1-point-something million votes the last 2 years ago. You see, the issues that are at play that were at play in 2023, 22, 23, might not be the same issues in 2027, 26, 27. In fact, any political strategist will tell you that it might even be too early now, at the present moment, to say that this is the way things are going to go, this is the way things will be played. It might be too early, politically speaking. So Look, Buhari contested how many times? And when he was able to build bridges, I'm not even sure that he built the bridge. People went to him. You understand? So you do not know what is in the works, or the people who believe that a Kwankwaso in their midst or within the mix will help them achieve whatever they want to achieve. And when you say Kano, I will disagree with you. I always say I'm not from Kano. And then many of us who are not from Kano, Prince Onu is from the east, he's from Ebonyi. You understand? There are many people. So when you say, oh, it's only Kano, Kano itself, even if we say it's only Kano, Kano itself is the equivalent of some 6 states.
They can't give him the presidency, that's a fact.
Hang on. No one, can Tinubu win Lagos? Can Lagos give anybody the presidency, or Rivers alone? You know? And we have the saying that, oh, if you can get Rivers, Kano, and Lagos, you'll be president. Tinubu, you understand, he didn't get the 3. So the dynamics keep changing. And I keep telling people that there is something that you must understand, and that is the fact that you do not know. We do not know. I do not know. Some might do, because why would Kwankwaso be a recurrent decimal if it is only Kano? That's a question. But some politicians know why, the reason why. You know, so that's it.
Well, very interesting angle there. You marketed him well without also marketing him at the same time. But Mr. Abdullah says, I'll let you have the final one on this, because this is actually more about politics than infrastructure or whatever. At the heart of it, at least that's what a lot of people hear. It's about politics. And I wonder for you what kind of politics the president is planning to play. A lot of people have described him as a very brilliant politician. You never see him coming. In fact, a lot of people say one of his strengths is that you underestimate him and he finds a way to just surprise you. So what kind of politics is the president playing? But speak to us, more importantly, is it distracted by 2027 politics? Because for a lot of Nigerians, they don't want to hear about 2027. They want to hear about today and what is being done to make their lives better.
So first, let me start from that end. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I can tell you, is not distracted about 2027. He's not distracted with politics. He's squarely focused on governance, and that is evident in the sort of meetings he holds. I think if you want to know where someone else's mind is, have a look at his preoccupations. So President Tinubu is preoccupied with governance. If you look at it, almost every day he holds meetings that have to do with the economy, that have to do with governance, that have to do with international cooperation, that have to do with investment. Less of politics. And so that tells you about his focus. But going back to your first question, or first part of the question, President Tinubu is, as I said earlier, is someone that has been around for long and has built networks and friendships over the years across the country in almost all parts of Nigeria. And that explains what people, when people wonder what's happening, is because he's been harvesting from his years of investment in friendships, investment in political and social networks across the country. And almost everything manifesting now is a product of those years. And also as a person, he is a consensus builder. He is a man of peace. He is somebody who believes in consensus building. He believes in talking to people. His doors are quite open. I tell people that perhaps I think I can't remember Nigeria having had a president as approachable as President Tinubu, because his network of friends and associates has remained largely intact, even in office, and he maintains direct and indirect communication with most of them, and that gives him hands-on regarding what's happening in the country, both in terms of social issues, in terms of economic, in terms of also politics. And this is also what is helping him, because a lot of these people who are decamping, you know, some politicians will come out and say, oh, the president or the federal government is coercing or luring members of the opposition into the APC fold. I can tell you that is not true, because, of course, I believe that politics is a game of it's like a chess game. It's a give and take a lot of times. But in this case, most of these people, especially governors and high-ranking politicians that are joining the APC, do that on account of the president's very, you know, approachable politics, very engaging relationship that he has, and also the fact that he, you know, he looks at people as individuals, as people, as representatives of their own people, not as members of political parties. And that is why today, whether you are a Labour Party state or NNPP state or PDP state, governors get equitable resources, equitable representation, and equitable opportunities. The president has demonstrated that, has done that to many states, irrespective of who the governor is. As he said one time, governance, I mean, politics, it's over. And for him now, what he sees is governance, and in governance, he doesn't see parties. He sees individuals, he sees leaders, he sees compatriots that should work with him to move Nigeria forward.
I think your points are well noted. You made your remarks. Thank you so much. We wish we had more time onto that debate. I would have taken you on a few things you said, but we're totally out of time. Ms. Abdulaziz is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Prince Media. Joining us virtually, also Mr. Ladikbo Johnson is the NNPP National Publicity Secretary, who joined us right here in our Lagos studio. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to that very conversation. It's controversial. GMO issues. Do we really need all of that? Or we're just being GMO hesitant? What exactly is playing out here? We'll talk with the regulators and get their perspective as far as the issue of genetically modified organisms are concerned. Join us again.